ever been fascinated by deep, intricate lore, ancient prophecies, and brutal martial arts tournaments that literally decide the fate of entire worlds, well, you are in the exact right place. Let's dive right into this explainer. We are going to completely break down the incredible universe of Mortal Kombat. And to truly understand the massive cosmic stakes of this war, we can't just start in the present day. We actually need to transport ourselves directly back to 1600s Japan. We have to start with the tragic, incredibly visceral origin of a legendary blood feud. A feud so intense that its consequences ripple across centuries.
So, picture this. It's 17th century Japan, and we find Hanzo Hasashi. Now, Hanzo is a legendary ninja, but he has finally hung up his weapons. He's stepped away from the violence. He's just enjoying a quiet, peaceful retirement with his beloved wife and children. But that fragile peace, it is violently and suddenly shattered. While Hanzo's away from his home running a simple, everyday errand, his compound is ambushed by a fiercely rival clan known as the Lin Kuei. And their leader, a man named Bi-Han, harbors a deep, venomous, personal blood feud against Hanzo. When Bi-Han tracks down Hanzo's family, he doesn't just end their lives quickly. No, he is incredibly sadistic. He uses horrifying supernatural ice powers to slowly, agonizingly freeze them to death right where they stand.
By the time Hanzo finally returns to his compound, it is far too late to even grieve. He is immediately swarmed by Lin Kuei assassins. Now he's completely unarmed, but he acts out of pure, unadulterated desperation. He grabs the closest thing to him, a simple gardening tool, a kunai, and he tightly ties a rope to it so he can grapple and slash at his attackers from a distance. This desperate, makeshift, improvised weapon is born out of absolute tragedy, and it actually becomes his iconic signature moving forward. He fights with the terrifying fury of a man who has literally lost everything he loves. But ultimately, Bi-Han steps into the fray. With his chilling supernatural ice abilities, Bi-Han strikes the exhausted Hanzo down, seemingly ending his life and his legacy forever. But here's the thing. The true horror actually begins the exact moment Hanzo dies. With his final rattling breath, Hanzo curses Bi-Han. Because of the absolute burning rage and vengeance completely consuming his soul, Hanzo's body and spirit aren't put to rest. Instead, they are dragged straight down to the Netherrealm. Think of this as a dark, fiery dimension basically akin to hell, where the most corrupted, vengeful, and cursed souls are forever banished. Up on the surface, Bi-Han walks away fully believing he has entirely extinguished the Hasashi bloodline, but he actually missed someone. Hanzo's infant daughter was hidden away during the attack, and she is miraculously rescued by Lord Raiden, the immortal god of lightning and the sworn protector of Earth. Now, to really grasp how this war works, we have to zoom out and look at how this entire universe operates. Reality as we know it is divided into 6 known realms. These are distinct, separate dimensions of existence. Generally speaking, cosmic law strictly forbids them from casually interacting or interfering with one another. It's supposed to maintain a cosmic balance. However, there is one realm known as Outworld. An Outworld is essentially a dimension entirely populated and run by ruthless, bloodthirsty conquerors. Their rulers are never satisfied with their own borders. They are absolutely desperate to invade, claim, and physically merge with our home dimension, Earthrealm. To prevent pure, unhinged cosmic chaos, the ancient elder gods established a very specific rule. If an invading realm, like Outworld, wants to legally merge with another realm, they must win exactly 10 consecutive Mortal Kombat tournaments. Now, these aren't just your standard sporting events. These are brutal, uncompromising, magical battles to the death between the absolute greatest champions of both realms. And here is the terrifying reality that we face in this story. Earthrealm has already lost 9 tournaments in a row. We are teetering on the absolute brink. If we lose the 10th, it means the complete and total end of our world as we know it. But there is a sliver of hope. An ancient prophecy foretells that Hanzo's surviving bloodline will eventually rise, unite Earth's scattered champions, and turn the tide of this war. This prophecy bridges the gap across centuries, bringing us directly to the year 2021 and introducing us to a guy named Cole Young. Cole is a washed-up MMA fighter. He takes brutal beatings in underground cage matches just for a couple $100 to keep food on the table for his family. He's completely off his game. He's distracted, and he keeps suffering from these intense, fiery, unexplainable visions of a strange ancient warrior calling out to him. Cole has no idea yet, but that warrior is his ancestor, Hanzo, literally trying to reach out to him across dimensions. Now, Cole bears a very distinct, permanent dragon mark on his chest. For his entire life, he just assumed it was a weirdly shaped birthmark. But soon, he is scouted by a seasoned military officer named Jax Briggs. Jax takes a very specific interest in Cole because, as it turns out, Jax has the exact same dragon mark. But there is an absolutely critical difference here. Jax got his mark by defeating and killing a champion who already had it. You see, the mark physically transfers to the victor. Cole, on the other hand, was born with it. This birthright isn't an accident. It is the physical, undeniable manifestation of that ancient prophecy directly linking him to the legendary Hanzo Hasashi. With Earthrealm teetering on the verge of losing that final, 10th tournament, the evil sorcerer of Outworld, Shang Tsung, is getting anxious. He has absolutely no intention of playing fair. Shang Tsung is terrified of this prophecy involving Hanzo's bloodline. So instead of actually waiting for the official tournament to begin and playing by the Elder God's rules, he commands his lethal second-in-command to illegally cross the dimensional borders into Earthrealm. The mission? Assassinate Earth's champions before they even have a chance to train or realize who they are. And that assassin is none other than the now immortal Bai Han, who has fully embraced his dark ice powers and now goes by the terrifying moniker Sub-Zero. This massive cosmic war suddenly comes crashing right into Cole's mundane, everyday life. Sub-Zero stages a terrifying, freezing ambush on Cole and his family while they are just sitting down to eat at a local diner. The temperature instantly drops, thick frost covers the windows, and certain death rapidly approaches. Jax heroically intervenes just in time, tossing Cole the keys to his truck so he can escape with his family. Jax bravely stays behind to face Sub-Zero completely alone. But guys, it is a horrifying, visceral mismatch. Sub-Zero effortlessly overpowers the military veteran. He grabs Jax's arms, uses his magic to freeze them completely solid down to the very bone, and mercilessly shatters them into pieces. Narrowly escaping, Cole desperately drives to a hidden warehouse base that Jax directed him to. Inside, he meets Sonya Blade. Sonya is a highly capable, intensely driven military operative who has spent the last 7 years obsessively researching these dragon markings across history. She's discovered that they represent Earth's chosen defenders, though ironically and tragically, Sonya does not have a mark herself. Also held captive in this space is Kano. Kano is a sleazy, foul-mouthed, utterly unpredictable black market mercenary. And strangely enough, Kano actually has the dragon mark, but he didn't earn it through noble combat. He selfishly murdered a chosen Earth's champion just to steal the power for himself. While Sonya is trying to explain all this incredibly deep lore to a confused Cole, they are suddenly attacked. An invisible, camouflaging reptilian monster from Outworld violently ambushes their trailer. It's a chaotic, bloody, desperate fight, and during the scuffle, Kano accidentally gets set free from his metal restraints. In a moment of pure, savage, animalistic survival, Kano brutally kills the creature by plunging his bare hand directly into its chest and literally ripping its heart out. Their base is compromised, leaving Sonya with a stark realization: they have to seek out Lord Raiden's ancient hidden temple for sanctuary. To get Kano to guide them through the desert, she has to bribe him with a totally fake promise of $3 million. After a grueling trek through the scorching desert, they are greeted by Liu Kang. He's a deeply disciplined, spiritual martial artist who guides them into Lord Raiden's sanctuary. And it's here that we finally learn about a concept called Arcana. Arcana is the dormant, inner supernatural energy that flows deeply through the veins of every marked champion. This is the exact reason why Sub-Zero can manifest deadly ice out of thin air, and why Liu Kang has absolute stunning mastery over flames. To even stand a chance in the upcoming Mortal Kombat tournament, every single champion must find a way to reach deep inside themselves and awaken their specific, unique arcana. But things are looking incredibly grim. Lord Raiden looks upon Earth's so-called defenders with absolute disappointment. I mean, look at them. Cole hasn't won a professional fight in years and is completely out of his depth. Sonya, despite all her knowledge, has no mark and therefore no arcana. Kano is an uncooperative, incredibly selfish liability, and Jax, who barely survived the diner ambush, is deeply depressed, struggling with frail, skeletal mechanical prosthetic arms. The only real bright spot here is Kung Lao. He's Liu Kang's best friend, a proud descendant of an ancient champion, and he already possesses the awakened arcana to control a deadly, teleporting, razor-winged hat. Earth's defense is quite literally hanging by a thread. Realizing how unprepared they are, Raiden creates a massive protective lightning shield over the temple to buy them some time for grueling training sessions. But honestly, it's a disaster. Cole takes an absolute beating. He shows a lot of resilient promise in hand-to-hand combat, but he completely lacks the internal spark to awaken his arcana. Kano, meanwhile, is just a terrible fighter with a massive, fragile ego. During a heated argument at dinner, Liu Kang and Kung Lao decide to purposely provoke Kano. They relentlessly insult him until he completely snaps and goes into a blind, screaming rage. And it turns out that sheer, unfiltered, toxic anger is the exact trigger Kano needed. He suddenly unlocks his arcana, firing a devastating optic laser blast right out of his right eye. Seeing Cole's utter lack of supernatural progress, Raiden basically loses hope in the prophecy. He sends Cole away, back home to his family, thinking he's useless in the coming war. But disaster strikes almost immediately. Shang Tsung gathers a terrifying squad of assassins outside the temple's barrier, including a super speedster named Cabal. Cabal actually has a history with Kano, and he easily convinces the treacherous mercenary to switch sides. In a devastating, entirely selfish betrayal, Kano backstabs Earthrealm. He uses his newly awakened laser eye to blast down Raiden's shield generator from the inside. In an instant, the temple's magical defenses fall, and Shang Tsung's monstrous forces pour inside to slaughter the remaining champions. Meanwhile, Cole arrives back home, but Outworld is already waiting for him. Shang Tsung has dispatched Goro, a massive, terrifying, four-armed beast of a warrior, to execute Cole and his family. Cole engages in a desperate, entirely hopeless physical fight against the giant. He's getting completely crushed, but right as Goro is about to kill his wife and daughter in front of his eyes, something inside Cole finally snaps. It's not born from anger or ego. The sheer, overwhelming, desperate need to protect his family is the key. It finally awakens his dormant arcana. It manifests as this incredible, kinetic, energy-absorbing golden armor and a pair of deadly bladed tonvos. Fully empowered, Cole turns the tables and brutally slaughters the four-armed beast. Sensing that Cole has finally awakened, Raiden urgently opens a portal to bring him back to the temple. The battle raging inside is an absolute bloodbath. But amidst the intense chaos, Jax finds his own inner strength, finally awakening his own arcana, which magically transforms his frail prosthetics into massive, incredibly powerful cybernetic arms. Raiden tries to quickly evacuate the surviving heroes, but Shang Tsung moves in to personally execute Cole. In a split-second decision, Kung Lao leaps into the fray. He bravely sacrifices his own life, allowing his soul to be taken by Shang Tsung, just so that Cole, Jax, and the others can safely escape into the mystical void between realms. It is a massive, heartbreaking loss. Deeply mourning the tragic loss of Kung Lao, the survivors regroup in the void. They quickly realize they absolutely cannot win a massive, chaotic brawl against Shang Tsung's combined army. They need a strategy, so they formulate a classic divide-and-conquer plan. By utilizing Raiden's teleportation abilities, they decide to violently isolate Outworld's forces into completely separate, high-stakes, one-on-one deathmatches across different locations. But the absolute golden rule of this desperate plan? They must save Sub-Zero for the very last. Because with centuries of experience and his lethal ice magic, he is by far the most dangerous threat on the board. The plan is set into motion, and across different arenas, Earth finally strikes back. Jax uses his brand new cybernetic arms to completely crush the skull of the giant Outworld brute, Reiko. Liu Kang and Cole team up, using their fire and weapons to violently dismantle the speedster Cabal. Meanwhile, Sonya manages to outsmart the treacherous Kano, finally putting an end to him by stabbing him directly in his laser eye. She then rushes to help Cole, who is pinned down by the terrifying, toothy assassin Melina. Sonya executes Melina, and in doing so, she instantly transfers the dragon mark to herself. In that triumphant moment, she awakens her own arcana, firing devastating purple sonic booms directly from her wrists. Realizing that all of his Outworld allies have just been systematically wiped out, Sub-Zero falls back on his cruelest, most sadistic habit. He kidnaps Cole's family, intent on ending the Hasashi bloodline once and for all, just like he tried to do centuries ago. He lures Cole to an old MMA gym, but this isn't a normal fight. Sub-Zero unleashes his absolute maximum power, instantly turning the gym into a deadly, completely frozen, ice-spiked arena. It is a chilling, terrifying cage match. Sub-Zero holds all the cards here, and despite his new armor, Cole is completely outmatched by the immortal assassin's hundreds of years of combat experience. The fight is brutal, and Sub-Zero is literally seconds away from delivering the killing blow. But as Cole bleeds on the ice, he manages to unsheath the rusted kunai that Raiden had given him earlier, the original desperate weapon of his ancestor, Hanzo. And as the blood of the descendant touches the ancient blade of the ancestor, something incredible happens. This profound ancient magic violently rips open a portal directly to the Netherrealm. Hanzo's vengeful, centuries-old spirit erupts into the frozen gym, reborn as the legendary hellfire-breathing scorpion. He throws his blazing kunai straight into Sub-Zero's shoulder, and he roars those absolutely legendary words, "Get over here." What follows is just an epic, brutal tag team assault of pure fire and ice. Scorpion and Cole work in absolute perfect tandem. They are swapping places, coordinating strikes, and relentlessly battering Sub-Zero, slowly but surely chipping away at his thick, magical ice armor. During the chaos, Cole finally manages to rescue his family, stepping back to leave Scorpion to finish this 400-year-old blood feud. Channeling all of his demonic rage, Scorpion breathes pure hellfire directly from his skull. He burns Sub-Zero alive, completely reducing Baihan to ash. With his family finally avenged, Scorpion respectfully bows to Cole, and his cursed, tortured soul is finally set free. Following the battle, the surviving heroes converge. They are victorious, but the war is far from over. Shang Tsung briefly appears with a chilling, ominous promise. Next time, he isn't just going to send assassins to cheat the rules. Next time, he is bringing an entire full-scale Outworld army. Understanding the gravity of this threat, Lord Raiden tasks Cole and the others with scouring the entire globe. They need to aggressively recruit brand new marked fighters before the official 10th tournament legally begins. We leave the story watching Cole packing his bags and heading straight to Hollywood, actively searching for a massive, arrogant superstar known as Johnny Cage. Think about what we've witnessed here today. We've seen hellfire, shattering ice, optic lasers, cybernetic arms, and kinetic golden armor. But with Shang Tsung promising an absolute, full-scale invasion of terrifying Outworld monsters and an entire army for the actual Mortal Kombat tournament, what kind of brutal, chaotic abilities will Earthrealm's newest champions need to awaken just to survive? The stakes have never been higher, and this universe is only going to get darker and far more expansive. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive explainer. I'll catch you on the next one.